What's up? What's up? This is the Hollywood Talk of Fame, where we sit up here and we talk about all the celebrities and their shenanigans. What's up, CK? Uh oh, CK?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. I mean, I just been watching YouTube. Everybody's going that shit crazy. I think Derrick Jackson is literally the number one thing that everybody's talking about in all of YouTube.
hmm Yeah, lots of things to break down. It's really insane.
Well, yeah, I saw the Tasha K interview, right? I believe that there is yet a third mistress, a third one that has come out. And when I saw the title of Tasha K's broadcast, she said she had in the title his current mistress. Current? CK. She did that interview with that mistress 1 week ago. This was like literally 3 days after he was online saying that he didn't have sexual relations with any of these women. 3 days.
Yeah, the interview with Tasha K was from Monday, and the mistress was saying the last time that she had no sex with Derrick Jackson was Thursday, the 18th, which is the title of the stream. And when it boils down to it, basically when Derek came on this past Sunday and was like, "I did not have sexual relations with those women. I just stuck the head in at the whole peen." He basically was lying because the mistress had been with him that Thursday, and she even has the text messages to prove it, which Tasha K put it on her Instagram and everything. So yeah, it's not looking too good for him. But we all know that the wife is brainwashed. He's in a cult. She's in a cult. It's a whole mess.
Well, there's a lot of stuff to unpack here with the latest Tasha K interview because, like I said, this lady is current, and so what this has me thinking about is when he did the whole live with him and his wife, and I remember the wife saying that nobody is coming out with new information that she doesn't already know about. And don't you remember the wife also saying that the only reason why she went back to Derek is because she had noticed that he had changed. She noticed a change in him within the last 5 to 6 months. And so that's the reason why she did not move forward with the divorce and that she came back to him. But now, this lady, this third woman, Tasha K just did this interview with her a week ago. And she said that Derek was just with her last week on Friday. So, how is the wife seeing a change in Derek when Derek is still out here cheating as of last week?
The Tasha K interview was this past Monday. Really, this same week. Derek threw out a bunch of gag orders. So when he's not trying to make women gag from busting in the mouths, when he's not trying to make them gag from that, he's given the gag order. And luckily, Tasha K had the interview already in place on Monday before the gag order went out. And yeah, the wife, more than likely, because of the cult church that they go to, she's seeing what she wants to see. Derek is doing the mantra. He's, doing the whole brainwash dance that people normally do in church. And, at this point, the wife is no more than just been a puppet. I think what it is the church is the main thing that's kind of puppeteering both of them, and Derek is just excited that he's able to cheat on his wife, get caught up, pray about it, and then blame the devil.
Exactly. And shout out to Unapologetically Me One. Me 81 says, and he was stalking her when she broke it off. And that's the other thing too. Now, Derrick Jackson, according to this current mistress, she says that he's very, how can I say, he pretty much is very, what's the word I'm looking for, CK? Because she describes him as being kind of controlling, in my opinion.
Let's just go with abusive. Her saying
Yeah,
that he is physically abusive, physically aggressive with her, and if you read some of the text messages on Tasha K's Instagram, he also had tendency of being controlling and stalking. He was demanding that he was going to go to her job and talk to her, even though she blocked him on social media and said that she blocked him because of all the stuff going on. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that he's put his hands on the wife, and that's the reason why she somewhat was looking shell shocked. And he was able to pull her out of her bed where she was depressed, bonnet and all, and have her in front of the camera.
yeah, because she said that sometimes he could be very mean, with his critiquing of her, telling her that she needs to fix herself up and look the part of a woman that's in her profession. And she was also stating that if he could say something like that to her, imagine, and he's only known her for a few months. Imagine what he is actually doing and saying to his wife on a regular basis. So, a lot of people made the observation that the wife looked uncomfortable in that first pre recorded upload. A lot of people made that observation. And then it seemed to me like that wasn't good enough. And so he quickly came back on with the wife on a live stream in some kind of way. I don't know what happened, but he put a battery in her back. And all of a sudden, she's like bursting with life. Do you think that he might have yoked her up a little bit, threatened her, like, "Hey, you better get your behind in gear. I got a book deal on the line, and I got a deal with TD Jakes on the line, and you're sitting up here messing it up for me." I believe that's exactly how it went down. I do, because the body language, everything spoke to me that this woman did not, show up. Like, she, of course, didn't show up dressed to go live, but the body language from the first video that they uploaded definitely said that she was not feeling being there at all. It was like she was forced. And then Derrick Jackson comes back in his critique of his own video with his wife, and he addresses the whole, thing about it looked like she was forced to do the video. He himself addressed it, which I thought it was kind of, weird. It looked weird. But CK, what is your whole take on this? I mean, I know you watched the Tasha K interview as well. What do you think?
So far, I'm looking at it to where, yeah, he's the puppet master. He was playing on her strings, and it's just like that. When you're dealing with a situation, and just in my experience as a sexual assault investigator, basically when you're dealing with someone who's abusing you all the time, even though you're, jumping up like, yes, a massa, no, a massa, even though you're jumping up every time they enter the room or look at you a certain way, eventually you're going to get tired and you're going to get worn out and you're going to get used to the abuse, even if it's physical. So he's more than likely got his hand up her butt like a puppet, and is making her do stuff, and she really don't want to do it. And that combines with the fact that she's brainwashed from the cult church that they're both in. I'm not really surprised by anything that we're seeing, and just how, like you said, she came to life at one point and was saying a lot of things. It sounded like it was programming. It sounded like it was almost like he gave her a cue to go ahead and read a teleprompter or read, whatever notes that he gave for her to say. At this point, the wife is no more than Pinocchio, and Derrick Jackson is Geppetto.
I agree. I absolutely do agree. You know, this guy is a monster, in my opinion. The more information that comes out about him, the more I view him as a monster. He has brainwashed his poor, innocent wife with religion. You know, he knows that she, it feels very strongly about her God and her religion, and he uses that as a tool to manipulate and also control. And I want to also say again, shout out to unapologetically me 81. She said that the doctor mistress said that the reason the wife was in another state was because he hit her and he was mad. She told her parents. So Derrick Jackson is abusive. He's physically abusive. How can you know what this motherfucker? Let me hold on a second. This motherfucker that looked like the black version of the Incredible Hulk have the nerve and the audacity to put his hands on that little itty bitty woman. The nerve and the audacity. If anybody is still following this fool, they are a fool. They are a fool. The more that comes out about Derrick Jackson, the angrier I get. Now, I don't know if you watch O'Shea do Jackson, but he was on a live with a brother by the name of George Macon. Shout out to George Macon. I like George. You know, he's a family guy. And George Macon, he issued a um, he issued a request to all the female content creators that go at black men. I'm not one of them. I used to be, but not anymore. But he basically stated that all the female content creators uh, should go at the women, the mistresses, all the side chicks that are coming out and telling their stories against Derrick Jackson. And I want to address that real quickly. And I want to be as respectful as I possibly can because I do respect O'Shea and I also respect George Macon. But here's the deal with you wanting the women to go after the other women, the side chicks. Okay, Derrick Jackson, every single woman that Tasha K interviewed has said the same thing. That number one, Derrick Jackson lied to them. Derrick Jackson made it seem that him and his wife were separated and getting ready to get a divorce. And this current side chick, this current side chick stated that she did not even know that Derrick Jackson was married for a great number of months in their relationship. And then even when she did find out he was still married, he lied to her saying that, oh, me and my wife, we're separated. We're not getting back together and we're going to get divorced. So I would have to say to Brother George Macon, brother, the side chicks, all of them were single, okay? None of them made a commitment to Mrs. Jackson. The only person that made a commitment to Mrs. Jackson was Derrick Jackson. The only person that knew full well that they were still married was Derrick Jackson. And the only person that can be held accountable in this situation is the married party because he's the one that knows full well who he's committed to. He's the one that knows full well that he's married, and he's the one that have no business cheating on anyone. So that is the reason why nobody is going after the mistresses. There will always be women out here that are tempting, but that doesn't mean that you have to take the bait. And Derrick Jackson was obviously open. As a matter of fact, he was the aggressor in many of these situations. If you listen to the stories of all these women, they all have similar stories. I think all but one, he was the one that was the aggressor. He was the one that approached them. So this is the reason why nobody is going after the side chicks, because Derrick Jackson lied to everyone. Derrick Jackson initiated contact with majority of these women. So why would anybody go after the side chicks? These women are single and they're out looking for a man. Derrick Jackson is the one that's married and he should have kept his dick in his pants. But go ahead, CK. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent.
It's okay. Yeah, faith is better than me. As far as being respectful, I think that's a great thing. I already did a clown talk talking about the clown talk that was on O'Shea and channel with George Macon on there, just to kind of repeat a couple of the talking points. When it boils down to it, just like you said, there's two people in a relationship, Derrick Jackson and Bada Jackson. So between the two of them, if one of them steps out, you can't point the finger at the outside party and say, well, yeah, Derrick is bad, but the side chick's bad too. No, there's only two people in the relationship. They both promised to be with each other, to be faithful. Pointing the finger to someone else, hoping that an invisible man from the sky comes down and zips up Derrick's pants and says no, 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 or just to condemn people who are outside of the relationship, outside the union. That's clown talk, point blank, period. And that type of conversation and talking points basically is somewhat justifying and rationalizing the side chick behavior, the hoe mentality, and even promoting people being starter wives, starter girlfriends. Like, all high value men are gonna cheat. Let him cheat in peace. Blame the side chicks. We got to stop doing that. That's we got to stop just being foolish with our words and not using logic and understanding that when it boils down to it, Derrick Jackson or Action Paction Jackson, as Tasha K would say, and Bonnet Jackson, they have to be the one to set the boundaries of the relationship, not other people who may be interested in coming in.
Exactly. So, for anyone even thinking about going after the side chicks, and the other thing too, when you tell women to go after the other women who are single and not the married party, this takes all of the attention off of the person who you really should be angry with, and that is the married party, the man, the cheater. So this is the equivalent of when women start going after other women, but they don't say nothing to their cheating husband. They're just all focused on the other woman. She's the problem. And so they're arguing with the other woman. They want to fight the other woman and all this other stuff. And then finally, if the other woman is out the picture, then she's still left with the problem, and that's the cheating husband. There will be another woman to come and replace that other woman that you thought you ran off. And so it's rinse and repeat over and over again. When the common denominator is your cheating spouse, not all these other women. So this is another reason why it makes no sense to concentrate on side chicks. If there were no cheating spouses, no cheating husbands, there would be no side chicks. Period, point blank. Think about that for a second. If men learned how to control themselves and they said no to side chicks, there would be no side chicks. So you cannot sit up here and expect these women to keep these men, how can I say, honest. It's not their job to keep him honest. It's his job to keep himself honest, not the other way around. So it's pretty silly to expect these so-called side chicks that have their own agendas to look out for your marriage. It's pretty silly. And like CK said, it's clown talk. But okay, go ahead, CK.
Yeah, and then also Bonnet Jackson. She was on her Instagram talking about she's gonna spill the blood of her enemies. She had on the battle bonnet. Shout out to Tanya TKO for coming up with that term. And it's just the wife saying different things like, "Oh, y'all not telling me nothing I already didn't know." So she's sitting up there looking like a whole clown. And when it boils down to it, her and Derrick Jackson are both clowns. They're both fools. I mean, look at the church cult that they go to. Shout out to the Plain Jane for pointing out the church cult they go to. The church has a YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, the pastor is doing different things like exorcising oral sex demons. It's just a whole mess. It is a lot of daily dose of dysfunction. It's just tomfoolery. They're exercising throat demons, oral sex demons. You got someone else up there talking about they're attacking the pastor, acting like they're possessed. When it boils down to it, that's where church messes a lot of us up. Because there's a lot of different cues and triggers for different people to do things. For example, you'll be in the pulpit, in the pews, and when certain music comes on, that's when people jump up and down like a chicken with their head cut off, running around talking about some praise dance, or people will, all of a sudden start shouting and stuff at certain times when the preacher is preaching. People will donate money when it's time for offering, as opposed to just doing it randomly when they want to. There's a lot of programming in the church as it is, and the church that Derrick and Bonnet Jackson go to is a cult. It's a cult church. They do a lot of strange things. When I saw the video on the Plain Jane YouTube channel and they were talking about exercising a throat demon, an oral sex demon, at that point I knew that Bonnet Jackson and Paxton Derrick Jackson, they weren't working with a whole bunch of marbles. And then we can also later on get into how Bonnet Jackson is colorist and how she was with a
Oh
threesome
yeah,
with Derrick.
shout out to Chrissy. Shout out to Chrissy for
Right,
bringing
shout
that
out to Chrissy.
to the flat.
Yeah, just the fact that she must have more than likely was a threesome, watching Derrick Jackson, be with these women. So that again, like Bonnet Jackson was saying, we're not telling her anything that she doesn't know, and this is the sign of someone who basically has no problem being the starter wife, has no problem being the doormat, and this is sad because we've gotten to a point where now people are getting married, they're in a whole union, but they're operating like they're in a whorehouse.
Yes, exactly. And shout out to China White for the $10 super chat. Love you, sis. If you guys don't know who China White is, check her out at her channel. China, you can drop the channel in the chat. I believe I made you a mod. If not, let me see. Oh goodness, I gotta be on my YouTube to mod you up. But she has a great channel. It's called the Lion's Den, I believe. And I watch her stuff. I get notifications for her stuff every day. Some pretty hot stuff. So check her out. But getting back to this whole Derrick Jackson fiasco. This is what I was saying yesterday on the live feed. When you have women out here talking about high value men cheat, and you have men out here talking about let them cheat in peace. I said it numerous times. There is no peace in cheating, none whatsoever. So now you're going to be sitting up there looking like Mrs. Jackson on that couch, scared, unfulfilled, and just looking crazy. Derrick Jackson got her out here looking crazy. She actually sat up there and said, "Oh, I only came back because I saw a change in my husband, a spiritual change in my husband. over the last 5 or 6 months, and nobody's telling me anything I don't know. Well, did you know about the current side chick? Huh? Did you know that the current side chick was pregnant with Derrick Jackson's baby, and he begged her not to have an abortion? Did you know that? Hmm? Did you? You still want to hold his hand? You still want to do material with him? You still want to stay in the marriage after all of that? And see, you know that your man ain't shit, because all up and down your Instagram page is a call for help. You've been posting for a long time about your pain, a long time. So maybe it all ain't new to you, but I know you got to be tired because you look tired in that video. But go ahead, CK. You wanted to speak on the colorism.
Well, the reason why Derrick Jackson was appearing to be happy to Bonnet Jackson was because he was getting the women that he really wanted to be with. The idea that all the high value men cheat, let him cheat in peace. See, that mentality is not just a hoe mentality, but it's the mentality of someone who's a let's just say a starter wife or a starter girlfriend. Whereas he's with you, he's in a relationship with you, and then when he finally levels up, you do a Bob the Builder type of thing. Shout out to Shira 71. When you do a Bob the Builder, you build your man up, or he builds himself up, gets to a higher level, and he starts to get the attention of women that he really wants to be with. You allowing him to be with those women, you now become second best, third best, fourth best, fifth best, and you become a loser. And because he's caring about the women that he really wants to be with, and you're accepting that, he's not going to take care of you. So if you're thinking that you're going to divorce him and get half and get taken care of, you and the children, he's going to be trying to take from you to give to the new women and the children that are not his, because that's who he really wants to be with. So that's who he's going to care about, because that's who he is going to monkey branch to. And yeah, just the Bonnet Jackson, kind of thinking negative as far as her daughter from with Derrick Jackson being dark skinned, her uh, upset that the dark skinned women that Derrick was with, wondering why she wasn't good enough to satisfy him. See, all of that thinking, all of that defeatist thinking, learned helplessness, accepted powerlessness. You're not going to be happy. You're never going to be happy, and that's why it's better for you to just leave when you find out someone's cheating, as opposed to staying thinking that, well, I could change him, he'll change. No, he's changing because he gets access to the women that he really wants to be with. It's only a matter of time before he starts putting his hands on you, starts to become verbally abusive, and at that time he's controlling, and it gets to a situation where you're like, okay, well, I want to leave, but now he's stalking you, like Derrick is stalking the mistress that he's currently with now. He's stalking you. He's preventing you from going different places, and he and his goons are treating you like how Jennifer Lopez was in that movie, where she had to basically fight back against her abuser. You'll be in this mansion. He won't let you leave to go shopping. Your mother and your will come over. He'll tell you that he don't want them around you because they're putting nonsense in your head. And then it gets to a point where now he's almost putting his hands on you every time you leave. He's paying your phone bill. The phone's in his name. He's able to see who you're calling, who you're texting, controlling every action, watching you and stalking you through the ring cameras that are around the house. It's a lot that goes into this whole quote unquote high value man, let him cheat talk. And it's almost like people are accepting putting themselves into abusive relationship, abusive situation.
Exactly. And speaking of the green camera, that made me think of what the mistress was saying about Derrick Jackson wanting to check out her security setup. She said that he was driving past her house 3 and 4 times a day looking at her cameras. What a loony tune.
Plus, her
And
in his videos that he put in his they had in his car when he was doing his car videos. The current mistress's house is in the background of all those videos. So that means when he went in and had the non-sexual sexual relationship, just put the head in, just put the tip in. You know how he talks. When he left her house, he was doing his video, and her house was in the background. I mean,
mm,
Bonnet Jackson is kind of like she's been brainwashed by the church cult to not only look the other way, but just to be stupid. And I think at this point, she's a lost cause. But I'm pretty sure she'll come out with a book and a YouTube channel of her own, and people will eat it up. But this is just more nonsense that kind of takes away integrity that goes into our families, and just the acceptance of the whole mentality, and that let someone you do whatever they're going to do, but at least you get the mansion and the car. We got to stop glorifying and pedestalizing prostitute behavior, because that's really all it is. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
no, no, no. I needed you to. I wanted to ask you. Could you also go into more detail, about breaking down exactly what the whole mentality is? Because see, a lot of people think that they're good Christian women, and sometimes you can be a good Christian woman, or so you think you are, and have the whole mentality.
So yeah, the whole mentality, it's more along the lines of, I guess you could say, um, chasing the bag. So chasing the bag is like everything, and just wanting material, wanting money, and wanting this person, and you're willing to do stuff such as um, lower your standards to make sure that you get your customer, which in this situation would be uh, Derrick to Bonnet Jackson. Bonnet Jackson just wanting to keep Derrick Jackson happy and giving him whatever he needs in order to keep him as a customer to her. So she's looking the other way when he goes to talk to other women. If he's telling her that he's gonna, be gone for weeks at a time, she's accepting of that because, you know, he basically he is her customer, and she wants to keep him happy at any cost. And she's even willing to share him with other women, let him put his hands on her, all the things that a prostitute does, because a prostitute just wants the money. So a prostitute's going to put herself out there sexually, or not sexually, and basically not have any standards or any type of boundaries, because she's willing and wanting to be used by any and everybody, because her goal is to chase the bag, get the money, even if it means disrespect to herself. So that's just the whole mentality as far as Bonnet Jackson's role. Now, as far as Derrick Jackson having the whole mentality, he's thinking, well, if I pay all the bills, I make all the money. If I have these needs, I need these needs met at any cost. So I'm gonna get with these side chicks and try to control them and abuse them. I'm gonna get these mistresses. I'm going to preach one thing online and do another thing, because I'm a slave to my sexual desire, and I want to be satisfied sexually at any cost. So I'm basically going to put myself out there through text message, in person, or what have you, so that I can get my sexual desires met and be a slave while doing it. So that, and just this mentality of wanting to be focused on some type of prize or some type of state, despite what they're doing to themselves and to the person in their relationship. They're basically like a hoe, because a hoe is loyal to the money, not loyal to daddy, not loyal to the other women that may be in her group, not loyal to her family. A hoe is loyal to the money, and she or he is willing to do whatever in order to get the money, even if it means sacrificing their children.
Absolutely. And another thing too, shout out to Chrissy. She brought out the whole colorism aspect in an Instagram post that the wife posted on her page, where she was talking about all the different side chicks. that Derrick had cheated on her with, and how it kind of lowered her self esteem and made her second guess herself by comparing herself to these other women. And in particular, she really, really seemed to be fixated on the darker skinned mistresses that Derrick had. For some reason or another, she really, really felt as if she was inferior to those women, to the point where she even writes that she even hated her own child, her own daughter's dark skin, because it reminded her of those women. Now, that's some deep psychological, just mental massacration, if you ask me. That's really, really deep when you can hate your own child because you see other women in her. That's crazy. But here
Yeah, the
she
insec-
is. No, go ahead, CK.
well, yeah, the insecurity is going to be a universal thing, especially when you got someone who is okay with being a, a starter wife or okay with being a doormat. They're going to be insecure about everything because what they ultimately want is the attention of, in this situation, Derrick Jackson. So because Bonnet Jackson wants Derrick Jackson's attention and she wants to keep him satisfied and keep him, happy, anyone who takes attention away from her is going to be a threat, including the daughter, including the side chicks, especially those who are dark skinned like her, and she's comparing herself to them. Just the Instagram post of watching Derrick go in and out of these women, seeing how the juices were, wondering why her juices couldn't be like these other dark skinned women. How come when I give him a BJ, why doesn't he react the same way he reacts with me? See, all of that jealousy, that envy, it can consume you. And when you combine that with the fact that she's in this cult where they have these throat demons, these oral sex demons that have to be exorcised and all this nonsense, she's more than likely not in her right mind. I mean, if anybody's religious, sorry for stepping on your toes at this point, but most people who are religious, the Jesus freaks, people who are really into that stuff, they sound like crazy people. They sound like madmen, mad women. And you could ask them a question like, okay, if the Holy Ghost is not programmed whenever the music goes off and certain music is played in church, why don't you get the Holy Ghost while you drive? Why don't you get the Holy Ghost when you walk down the street? Why don't you get the Holy Ghost while you're using the bathroom? Or while you're taking the shower? Why don't you get the Holy Ghost while you're at work and you're doing things? And they can't really tell you because they have explanations that are based off of chance. They'll say, well, I don't know, but God is good all the time. And, what the ending to that is, all the time God is good because it's a part of that programming. So, going back to Bonnet Jackson, she's been programmed with the whole colorism aspect where she believes that, like the church is saying, that she should be able to satisfy her man, but she can't. And she doesn't understand, doesn't know why, because the answer's not in that Bible, and the answer's not going to come from a preacher who wants to keep y'all together so he can keep milking money from you. So she's losing her mind, not being able to understand how she cannot get 100% of Derrick Jackson's attention, and what she has to know. And if you're out there, Bonnet Jackson, you can come on the panel. We can tell you, ourselves. But what you have to understand is that you're you're never going to be able to get 100% of the time and attention from someone who's community peen, who's basically has the whole mentality that they're for everybody, that they should be for their fans. They shouldn't set boundaries. That whole mentality that it's okay to pass me around and do whatever. You're never going to have 100% of that person. And Bonnet Jackson, from us to you, from Faith and myself to you, we're here to tell you that you're not his wife. It's just your turn.
Exactly. And you know what else, CK? Another factor in this is that the whole religious thing also takes away from accountability. Because if only God can judge you, and if Jesus will make a way somehow, that takes away all accountability from the individual. So if your man is cheating, all you have to do is just pray about it. There's no requirement for you to do something about it if you're unhappy, like leave, because all they gonna do is tell you to pray. So the accountability factor is the reason why a lot of these people love religion, because only God can judge me. God will make a way, and we gonna pray about this thing that I have complete and total control over, instead of me actually doing something about it. That's why people love religion so much, and that's the reason why they like to hide behind it. Derrick Jackson's wife is in bad need of a therapist and counselor. She does not need Jesus. She needs a therapist. And the reason why Derrick prefers for his wife to be part of this cult church that they are in is because if his wife did go to a therapist, a good therapist would probably counsel her to leave him. I truly do believe that. So it's safer for Derrick to have his wife in this cult church than for him to get her the actual help that she needs, or for her to go and get the actual help that she needs. All of it is about control and lack of accountability. But I'm sorry, go ahead, CK.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future the pastor of that cult church comes and says that it wasn't Derek that messed with those women, it was the penis demon. The pastor already exorcised the throat demon. She was spitting, and he was like, "Get rid of that demon semen out of your mouth." So I'm pretty sure that there's a penis demon that's making Derrick Jackson do all this. We've heard it all before. It wasn't me who slept with those women. The devil made me do it. And so, with that thought process of the devil made me do it, the devil, made me put my community peen in her mouth. Just all of that. Let's just say learned helplessness, accepted powerlessness, and escapism. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the conversation that Derek had with Bonnie Jackson, where he was like, "When I was in the room with those women in our marital bed, it wasn't me having sex with them. It was almost as if I left my body and the devil was having sex with those women. It was the devil who was sending the text messages, and it was the devil who had them bent over on your favorite pillow." And Bonnie Jackson, with her being programmed, she wants to keep her bonnet crown. She probably ate all that up, hook, line, and sinker, and now she's back. And she's ready for more. And when Derek steps out again, and he more than likely will, she probably will be thinking, "I cannot believe the devil has possessed Derek again, and it's making him do all this stuff. I'm gonna pray about it. Fix it, Jesus." When in actuality, she needs to understand and realize that it's not that she's his wife. It's just her turn.
Exactly. You know, I wish that, I would say women in general would stop letting men lead them in the Bible, who themselves don't even know the Bible, and they're not even following the Bible. You have to really ask yourself, why am I following this man in Christ, but he himself does not follow the word that he is putting down on me? Wouldn't that make him a hypocrite? So, exercise your good sense, your good judgment. These men that sit up here and act like storefront pastors like Derrick Jackson. That's what he is. He's a storefront internet pastor that people have pedestalized. And as soon as he gets his behind in a crack, but who does he go pulling out but Jesus and the Bible and God? And he gonna pray. These are all buzzwords for the female Christian audience. And he has grown accustomed to doing this because he has utilized these same tactics on his wife. And now he is attempting to utilize it in a massive way on his audience. Think about that for a minute. He's basically using the same Jedi mind trick that he used on his wife with his viewers. So the question is, Black women, are you all going to fall for it like Mrs. Jackson fell for it? Inquiring minds want to know.
So we have somebody here from the Bonnet Army, the Battle Bonnet Army. So financial dominatrix says, okay. They called Jesus Christ crazy in the Bible. Even Mary thought he was crazy like the crowd did. So we're not really talking about what Jesus did in the Bible as far as the crucifixion. This craziness deals with the throat demon. It also deals with the fact that Derrick is a slave to his sexual desire, the fact that Bonnet Jackson is blind or refusing to see the truth, and that she's not the wife, it's just his turn. And then also, next comment from now let us know if you're with the Bonnet Army. We would love to talk to you if you're a supporter of Derrick Jackson or a part of the new Bonnet Jackson Army. The next statement is Mark 3:21. When his family heard about, are you? So when you say Mark 3:21, are you quoting Mark 3:21 or just referencing it? Because if you're quoting it, I don't think this is in the Bible anywhere. When his family heard about this, they went to take charge of him, for they said he is out of his mind. They called Jesus crazy too. And so, again, we could debunk the Bible right now. We could break it down. We could beat it up and discuss how between Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John, they all are they're all considered the gospel, and they all contradict each other. We could go into that, or go into the fact that as far as crazy, uh, they were thinking he was crazy because he was talking about dying and coming back to life, and in Mark he survived the crucifixion because he told Mary, his mom, to go tell the disciples that he had not ascended to heaven yet, that he was about to go. And the other three books were saying that he died on the cross and gave up the ghost. So again, we really shouldn't quote the Bible, and it should really be taken not as history, but just as a book that has a bunch of different, you could say, parables that can be used to kind of talk about some things you're going through or whatever. But most of everything that happened in the Bible was for their time period, not ours. So thank you for putting that stuff in the comment section. If you all are nice enough, maybe Faith will open up the panel for you all to come up, and we would love to speak to the Bonnet Jackson Army, Team Jackson, throwing around the Little Jackson Army. We would love to talk to you, because when it boils down to it, we got to stop using religion for escapism, for learned helplessness, accepted powerlessness, and just take it for face value that you're with a cheater who's a serial cheater. He's not going to do you right. And when the time comes, he's going to find someone that he really wants to be with, and he's going to leave you, and you're going to be nothing more than a starter wife, or your turn is going to be over with. But go ahead, Faith.
Yeah, I truly do believe that before all of this hit the fan, Derrick Jackson was out the door. He was already out of the door from his marriage to begin with, but I really do believe that he was planning to leave his wife before all this hit the fan. And so, I sit here and I look at all the different women that he has cheated on his wife with. I sit here and look at all the lies that he's told this woman and the lies that he's told to all the women that support him. And, I look at also how he's lying to himself and he's betraying the creator. Derrick Jackson have lied to and betrayed everyone, here and beyond. And yet, and yet, some of you are coming in here quoting scriptures. You're coming in here justifying. Okay, Derrick Jackson betrayed your God. Where's your loyalty to that? And then he kept right on lying all the way up until Tasha K came out with the third mistress. How many mistresses got to come out before you all finally open your eyes and get the picture and stop thumping on that Bible and believe in everything this liar has to say? How many mistresses? How many licks does it take to get to the center of your common sense? Hmm? But one thing that I do want to, say to you guys, because I'm getting very close to my destination, so I'm going to fall off probably and let CK go ahead and take over the rest of the way. Because I'm a working lady and I gotta handle my responsibilities. But in all of this, when the Wizard of Oz got exposed, when we finally saw that it was just a regular man behind a big screen, then the people's eyes became open. Derrick Jackson is no different. He's the wizard behind the big screen. He's putting out smoke and mirrors, handing you an illusion of being a friend to black women and an illusion that he's a God-fearing Christian man when he could really give a damn about God. He has displayed that he doesn't care about anybody but Derrick. And that's the honest truth about the matter. The only person he cares about is Derrick. He doesn't care about his two children that he has with his wife. He has not once said anything about the impact that this would have on them. He doesn't care about his wife. Look how he had her come up on camera, obviously shaken and ill prepared. He don't care. Just as long as she get her behind up there and say what she's supposed to say. Derrick only cares about Derrick. So I would hope that there are no black women running up trying to thump a Bible that Derrick himself could give a damn about. Because I can go back and show you how many ways he gave his God the middle finger while he continued to lie. And he knew full well what he was doing. But at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to my co-host for him to finish out. I got to concentrate on this road because I'm getting very close to my destination. CK, go ahead and take it away, brother.
All right, yeah. So I'm going to drop the link. If anybody who's a part of the Bonnet Army wants to come up and defend the shenanigans that we've seen from Bonnet Jackson and Derrick Jackson, if the Bonnet Army's in the building, if Team Jackson's in the building, or if anyone who's religious wants to come and say, "Well, hold up, CK, hold up, Faith. I hear what y'all saying, but we have to forgive. The devil made him do it." We would like to have that discussion and hear from you. We're not going to beat you up. If it is clown talk, it will be identified as such. But when it boils down to it, the way I look at it is this: Derrick had reached out to the mistress, the current mistress, after he slept with her a week ago on Thursday, on the 18th, which it's in the title of the stream. He slept with her on that Thursday, and then that Friday and Saturday, he had texted her and said, if bloggers reach out to you, block them. So he was trying to cover his tracks even before the Sunday "I gave my life to Christ, everything is honky dory" live stream that he gave us. And this is what it boils down to. I got it. You got a scripture for everything. You have a hymn. You got a praise dance for everything. But you have to understand that when people are being deceptive and deceitful and they're being whoremongers and having a whole mentality, there's nothing you can do that's going to pray away the fact that you're dealing with people who are not loyal to you. The man was sitting in his vehicle giving you all just response videos and giving you all advice while he was parked outside the mistress's house, who's in the background. So if anybody is thinking that he is someone who should be taken seriously, no. Like you might as well take him for a joke, like we're saying, because when it boils down to it, the writing's on the wall, and you got to take him for face value. Point blank, period. Now, if you all have heard him and you're like, "Hey, I heard what he has to say. I'm still gonna buy those two books." Okay, cool. We would like to hear from you if you want to buy those two books, or if you're like, well, if he has a meeting or something, or he's doing a seminar, I'm still gonna go to it. I'm still rocking with him. I would love to hear your thoughts on everything and what you got to say. Even if you're a part of the cult church that they go to, or any church, if your pastor is exercising throat demons, oral sex demons, we would also like to hear from you. It's not really much more to it because a lot of content creators have done research and have pointed out stuff, and we've gone through the information and we've pointed out stuff. At this point, in my opinion, the people who are still following Derrick Jackson and Bonnet Jackson, they basically want their turn to get on his Jackson, if you know what I mean. And it's very shameful. I do see most people who are going to believe the lies and accept everything he's saying. They're more than likely going to be quote unquote Christian, quote unquote Bible believers, quote unquote Jesus freaks. It's going to be those type of people who are gullible to begin with, and deal in escapism, which is, don't lean to your own understanding, lean on to God's. Don't worry about your own problem, put it in Jesus' hands. People who deal in that escapism, or people who deal in learned helplessness, accepted powerlessness, that, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Those type of people are going to be still buying the book, still paying for seminars, and eating up everything that has been said. And I'll say this much: it's very shameful that a lot of programming and programming language is used in the church and in these church cults, and it's brainwashed Bonnie Jackson into believing that because she is married to Derrick Jaxn and she's in the mansion, that she's the prize, even though he's slaying a dangalang 12 ways to Sunday. Just that thinking and that thought process has a lot of people losing out, and have adopted a whole mentality and not even realized it. I mean, she goes into great detail on her Instagram talking about Bonnie Jackson, how she's watching him go in and out of other women, and the juices and stuff are flowing, and she's wondering how come she can't get wet like that. I mean, just all that different stuff. It just shows you that Bonnie Jackson's not going anywhere. I was one of the people that was saying that she should definitely, get the divorce, get her and the kids, and move on. I have to stand corrected that um, I now believe that she's not going anywhere. She's programmed. The church cult has brainwashed her, and no matter what Derrick does, she's going to stay and continue to possibly get physically and verbally abused, and it's just going to be business as usual, no matter what comes out, or what future mistresses come out. So Doug says he'd be better off admitting to his infidelity. Yeah, I agree. He would be better off admitting to it. However, when it comes to religious people, they don't care what you've done. Everything that they deem to be quote unquote sin can just be prayed about and can be forgiven, and you just stay together, because they're more focused with people staying together, even if somebody is abusing someone financially, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And it's very shameful. But just like Project Pat said, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. So that's just it. That's just it. And so right now we're on three women, including the mistress that was with Derrick in a sexual and non-sexual relationship on Thursday. I'm pretty sure more will come out. I wouldn't be surprised if Derrick has some side babies running around, like just like different Muslim. No, I'm not gonna go there. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have any side babies that um, are running around that are going to come out to the forefront. I mean, leave it to people like Tasha K and other people who are internet sleuths and have no problem spending money on private investigators to find out stuff. So yeah. So yeah, the panel is open. I see no one has come up. And Gwen Estelle Natural says, seems like she's obsessed with him. I kind of agree that she would be kind of obsessed with him. I mean, a lot of people who listen to him, Derrick Jackson's fans, a lot of them are obsessed with him. Um, when hearing when you see them in a live stream chat, or they make their videos, or they comment on Instagram and just different places, just the things that they say, it just sounds like no matter what he does, whether it's physical abuse or you know, cheating with different women and trying to hide it, and then hide behind Jesus when the truth comes out. A lot of people, including Bonnie Jackson, do kind of come across as being let's just say obsessive. They come across as obsessive, and it's very sad because there's children involved. There's children involved, and shout out to the Faith Factor for kind of pointing this out on one of the previous streams. If Derrick Jackson really cared about her, he would have left the mansion and let the Bonnet Jackson and the Bonnet kids stay in the mansion while he went to the penthouse where he basically had his little sex dungeon. And Doug says, "I bet Derrick has sex with different women every single book signing and lecture." Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that. Because usually the book signings and the lectures, that's when he passes out his business card, gives out his phone number, and that's kind of like the starting point to meet up with them while he's in town, and gives them a piece of his action Jackson. So yeah, I completely agree. And just in case if anybody wants to join the panel, especially people who are, I saw Financial Dominatrix has some interesting things to say, and maybe she'd want to come up and uh, kind of discuss. Maybe, I don't know. Financial Dominatrix, are you with the church, the cult church that we saw on the Plain Jane's YouTube channel where they were exercising the throat demons? The throat demons, the oral sex demons. Let us know if you come from that church. We would like to hear more about it. And yeah, I do. Queen King Maya BZ. A lot of women do like bad boys, and a lot of women have said, "Oh, Derrick Jaxn looks great, and he uses his body and his looks to be able to sell his books." And I think that's a great thing. Use what you got. So more power to him. Let's see, it's another comment. So, why are you calling her Bonnet Jackson? Stop bullying her. That's from wife, mom, and nurse. So, uh, calling her Bonnet Jackson, yeah, it is teasing her for wearing the bonnet during the live stream when she was with Derrick Jackson. I mean, she was wearing the bonnet. Um, I unfortunately, I don't. Even though the wife is dragged into this, it's not the wife's fault that Derrick Jackson basically is for everybody. So I try not to use her actual name because she is. Let's just. I mean, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna sit here and say that she's innocent in the whole thing, but I do believe that her name shouldn't be used a lot because you're kind of dealing with somebody who um, somewhat. Oh, I think you mute that. Okay. Yeah, the wife is pretty much somebody who has accepted her fate, and I wouldn't want to use her name a lot when talking about her, just kind of out of respect for her. So we just call her Bonnet Jackson. Okay, so and again, wife, mom, and nurse. If you want to come up and tell us your thoughts on what you believe as far as Bonnet Jackson, let us know. But if it was up to me, I would tell her, hey, you need to leave, go through divorce court, and be good to go, because at the same time you and him were praying about the situation and trying to get past things, he had this mistress that he was skeeting in, and even got her pregnant. Okay, so this is not one of those things where it's a pump and dump, or she's for play. He actually was obsessed with the mistress, doing videos outside her house and showing signs that he was emotionally attached to her. So basically, you might as well go and say this is an affair. So he's not going to change. He's praying with you Sunday morning for forgiveness and for healing, and then he's skeeting inside of her Sunday night. So this is not something that's going to change or go away or anything. This is one of those, this is one of those things where he's lying to himself, and he's lying, just saying, the devil made me do it, and all this and that. So yeah, she needs to leave. But yeah, I'm not gonna use her name. I'm gonna continue to call her Bonnet Jackson. So yeah, there's that, and it's not bullying her. She pretty much put herself out there when she sat on the couch next to him, holding his hand, and then told when it came time for her to speak, she was like, "Y'all not telling me anything I don't know," and she's got on the bonnet, and the army fatigue shirt, talking about taking the blood of her enemies. So she definitely is not innocent in all this. She is not only complicit, but she's willing to fight for her man and fight off the side chicks that are not to her liking. Yeah. So again, the panelists.
Exactly. I'm back, CK. CK brings up a good point. See, everybody wants to treat the wife with kitty gloves. Now, one thing that I will say that the only victim in this situation is the wife. And I feel bad for her that she has a cheating husband. But it's real hard for me to have sympathy for you when I go on your Instagram page and you've been posting stuff about cheating and infidelity for a long time. So then at some point you made a pact with yourself. You made a choice that this was something that you were just going to sit back and accept. You just let Derrick cheat in peace. All the while it was tearing at your self-esteem. You lost yourself. You pretty much let him cheat in peace as you were losing yourself in the process. So you made a choice. And while I do feel sorry for the wife, make no mistake, like CK said, she is also an accomplice in all of this. Because all she had to do was go through with the divorce and she would have been free. She would have been well on her way to healing by now. But when you got somebody like CK said coming up on camera talking about some, y'all ain't telling me nothing I don't know. Y'all gonna see more of me. Buy my husband's book. Well, you done pretty much traded in your victim card because now you have aligned yourself. You have aligned yourself with the villain. So how can I feel sorry for you when you're aligning yourself with the villain? It kind of, gives me mixed feelings. On the one hand, I want to rescue you and get you away. But on the other hand, deep down inside, I know you'll be back. Therefore, you have made your choice when you aligned yourself with the villain. Exactly, RP. She knew. She was obsessed with one of the mistresses and tried to imitate her, which failed. It's sad. Her self esteem is in the gutter. Exactly. So you can't be running around here talking about about all the cheating. You're over here comparing yourself to the other women. You're becoming obsessed with the other women. And then you turn around and align yourself with the villain. Real hard for me to completely, I feel sorry for you, but I can't completely feel sorry for you. I can't completely do that. Because, see, I'm not going to let you use God as a scapegoat. You're not going to be able to pray this away. God gave you the ability to fix it, and you didn't want to. You wanted to stay there. So now you made your bed, you got to lie in it. Sorry, not sorry. CK.
And in one of the videos, I saw Bonnet Jackson get on the stage at the church and sing, and the look that she was having was the look of someone who was somewhat finding peace while in the cult church. What we got to do is we got to stop replacing therapy with cult church, or just with church period, because when it boils down to it, while Bonnet Jackson had left, her and the kids had went to her mom's, and she was about to file for divorce August of last year. She should have got the therapy that she should have gotten. Like Faith, you were saying, she should have got the therapy, had someone talk to her, and start it kind of help her along the way to move on to a better life where she's respected, not getting cheated on left and right, because it's only a matter of time before Derrick brings home the side baby, and it's only a matter of time before it's a scene like the Tyler Perry movie. I think that it was, I forgot the name of the movie, but basically it was the in the beginning the wife had gave the husband a gift, and he basically was just talking to her like she was less than, like she was nothing, and he kicked her out and ended up getting with another woman. And I see Derrick doing the same thing, where he's still sticking by the starter wife, to continue to sell the book like he's been promoting, and he doesn't want to go through divorce court and lose a lot through alimony and child support. Right now, Derrick is probably behind the scenes working with an accountant, working with a lawyer, trying to see how he's going to angle his wife out of stuff, how he's going to hide money, do this, do that. A lot of times people would do this type of stuff. They'll tell you like, oh, I'm sorry that I cheated on you. I shouldn't have done it. Only God could judge me. I'm gonna pray and be fixed. I promise this is the last time. And all while he's plotting and scheming to screw you over. So she should have went with her first mind and should have left and not came back. And that's gonna prove to be her mistake. That's going to prove to be her mistake, because, and just like what Brother Speak is saying, when you don't fight back when you have the chance to, and when someone trying to help you, then people lose compassion for you. Exactly. And Natural Hair Lover is saying he will not change. I have been with a man like that, and they can't relate to the fact that they are hurting people. Derrick is worse than type is worse is the worst type of narcissistic male. Yeah, I agree. Because if someone really cares about you, and if someone truly cares about you and they get lust for someone who is not you, they're gonna leave. They're gonna divorce you. They're gonna leave you alone, and they're gonna tell you. They're not gonna string you along and have you looking crazy in public. They're not gonna do it. And it's sad, because even with looking at her in the current live streams, I mean, she's wearing a bonnet, and it looks like she's wearing hand-me-down clothes that came from Derrick Jackson's body. That's the reason why the shirt looks so big, is because it's probably Derrick's shirt, and now it's kind of like, okay, well, where are your clothes? If her clothes were still at her mom's house because she moved out and was trying to move in, if he truly cared about her, he would he would have given her time to fix herself up. Because one of the side chicks was saying that Derrick is controlling and was talking down to her and was saying, "Oh, you're not dressing like a doctor. You're not dressing like a professional." He was controlling and obsessive with how they look, because that's who he really wants to be with. So the fact that he let his wife come on camera looking uh, she dressed from the Goodwill with the hand me down bonnet and the hand me down sweater, that shows that he doesn't care for her, and she's nothing more than a prop. See, once someone starts treating you like a prop and like a puppet, it's only a matter of time before they're going to ditch you. It's just that they're not ditching you right now because they're wanting to use you for something. And because Bonnet Jackson is allowing herself to be a puppet and to be used up, and not really going with, not using her mind, but more than likely leaning on to God's understanding, and more than likely listening to that pastor who is running that cult, she's going to find herself in the worst position possible, and that is broke, penniless, with two children, and being a has been.
I agree. I agree with everything that you just said, CK. And unfortunately, she's a lost cause. The only thing that we could do with her is to do what we are doing. Sometimes, people need the cold, hard truth. If you sit up here and you try to be too nice and spare the person's feelings when they really, really need the cold, hard reality, you're doing no better than Derrick Jackson deluding them with the Bible. So the only thing that will save this woman is the cold, hard reality. So, yeah, she's going to need to see people clowning her about that bonnet, okay? She's going to need to see people telling her she's a fool for staying with him. These are things that she's unfortunately going to need to experience because life is not. Let me tell you guys something about life because I think a lot of people got life all messed up. Okay. Life is not all peaches and cream. People are not going to be nice to you all the time. Okay. Especially when you're out here looking like a jackass and acting like a jackass. Okay. People are going to tell you you're a jackass and they're not going to be nice about it. Now, even though Derrick Jackson's wife is a victim, even though Derrick Jackson's wife is a victim, let's not even get it twisted. She's a victim. But even though she's a victim, she's also a jackass because she's exposing her children to a church cult. Number one, she's sitting up here talking about she's jealous of her daughter's dark skin. Number two, she's sitting up here comparing herself to other women and condoning her husband cheating by staying and not doing anything about it. Number three, she's a jackass. Total, complete jackass. And while I do, once again, feel bad for her in her situation, she is participating by taking sides with the villain. And that makes her an even bigger jackass. And so, far be it from me not to let her know. Okay, that's real love. When you really care about somebody, you're going to tell them you fucking up. And sometimes there ain't no way to sugarcoat it. Because I'm quite sure other people have tried. I'm quite sure other people have wiped tears from her cheeks on many occasions and hugged her and prayed with her in a nice way. But sometimes that gut kick is exactly what a person needs to get some act right. Sometimes that gut kick is exactly what they need. So for all of y'all sitting up here talking about some don't bully her, don't call her the bonnet lady or whatever, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. This is not fantasy. This is reality. And the reality is she was sitting up there with a bonnet on her head looking crazy. She was sitting up there condoning the cheating behavior by default when she stayed in that relationship and believed all the lies, even though the truth was staring her right in the face the entire time. This is why I don't have patience for the nonsense. She's been in this marriage for years dealing with this situation. I know she's had people patting her on the back and consoling her and wiping away tears for years. But it's time for tough love. It's time for people to be frank with her. That is what is needed now. Because many of us women, and myself included, I was in a situation very similar, not as bad, but very similar. And it took the men in my family to give me that gut punch. And they told me, you know what, Faith? We could go after this guy and we could beat him up, but we know you'll be right back. So until you get tired, we ain't gonna do nothing. And they turned their back on me. That was a gut punch. And I needed that dose of reality. Sometimes that's what it takes, guys. Tough love. The Bro Speak podcast says we have been showing too much compassion to females who intentionally put themselves in bad situations and in turn enabling her to continue in the situation. That has to stop. Absolutely, Bro Speak. Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better. Oh yeah. Commendable K. Exactly. The movie was Diary of a Mad Black Woman by Tyler Perry. Yeah, she sat back and she pretty much took a lot of crap off of her husband. She took a lot of crap. But her red pill moment came when he was dragging her behind out of that house and moved his mistress in.
Exactly. And this is kind of just responding to, George Macon. He was wanting the sisterhood on Black YouTube just to condemn the side chicks when in fact this is the gut punch that Faith is talking about. This is better than condemning the side chicks because it's helping to wake up Bonnet Jackson from the Matrix. It's flashing your camera in front of her face, getting her to wake up from the sunken place. It's trying to hoping that she goes through the internet through YouTube and is watching these videos and she hears this stuff. It can slowly start to get her mind back so she can get her life back, because a lot of times when someone's in an abusive relationship or abusive situation, the person who's abusing them has manipulated them and controlled them to the point where the abuser is cutting is convincing the victim to cut off family and friends, to cut off or limit uh, the internet use, limit watching TV, and only really get information from the abuser. So now what ends up happening is he's telling her different things like, "Oh, I found God, I found Christ, I'm better, you can believe me." And because there's nobody else there to give her an opposing view, to give her more of a rational and intellectual way of looking at a situation, all she's going off of is what the abuser is saying and her heart. because she is emotionally invested in Derrick. She wants to keep the family together. He's the breadwinner. So it's no it no one blames her for staying, but it's the fact that she was right there at the edge of the door, and she probably talked to that pastor who's the cult leader, or talked to any or someone else who was involved with Derek, including other side chicks, because she mentioned that she's interacted with other side chicks and she was obsessed with a couple of them who are dark skinned. So the people who are sleeping with her husband are probably telling her to stay with her husband because nobody wants him but you. This is gone. Let's keep it real. Most of the mistresses, none of them were talking about trying to marry Derek or trying to get with him. They had no problem being for play play. Because when it's come to side chicks and mistresses, they want to be play play. They want to be play play because they're hoes. They got a hoe mentality. Nobody wants to be the starter wife. Nobody wants to be the starter girlfriend. No one wants to be the doormat. All these hoes, as far as the hoe mentality, nobody wants to be Bonnie Jackson right now. They want her to be in that position so that Derek can continue to make money, so he can continue to fly them out and spend all this money on them without them having to be in her spot. So she definitely needs to break away. But unfortunately, like Project Pass said, don't save them. They don't want to be saved. But hopefully she stumbles across this live stream or any other broadcast that Faith and I have done in regards to the situation, and that she can kind of get some sense kicked into her, like a gut punch, like Faith was saying, and wake up and start to put herself first and do what's in the best interest of her and her children. Because when you're dealing with community pain, you're gonna get a community worth a problem. And that's pretty much all I have, Faith. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, everything that Commendable K said, I co-sign 100%. But look, guys, we are going in at the hour and 30-minute mark. We put the link out there. Nobody has opted to join in. So at this juncture, I think that this is a good point for us to go ahead and cut it off. And I want to leave you with the thought that if you really, really want to help somebody, you got to really, really be frank, open, and honest with them. But do it in a loving way. But sometimes, like I said, you got to give them that gut punch so that they can be knocked back into reality. Because a lot of people love to rock themselves to sleep, and they will use you as an emotional pillow. And then they will get right up after crying on your shoulder and do the same thing all over again. And that's something that we have to stop collectively. Coddling grown people that should know better. So, at any rate, that's the show. Please tell us what you think below in the comment box. I want to thank everybody that came in to view this message today. If you aren't subscribed to the Faith Factor and the Commendable K channel, please do so. Like the video, share the video because that keeps us on top. And for now, I want to say peace.